So, good afternoon. This is Sunday, July 12th, 2026, and I spent 6 months building this air compressor setup, and I would like to show what I have done. So, maybe somebody else out there with the same style compressor can maybe use something off of it. So this is my compressor. It's a 1946 Ingersoll Rand. It's pretty much all original. The motor, the pump. I bought it for $100 and I tore it apart, repainted it, put it back together, and then I bought this tank off a marketplace for 20 bucks. It's a 60-gallon tank. My Ingersoll Rand is a 60-gallon tank. And so the heart of this thing, it's a really good air compressor. Most of the ones I see are stand-ups. This is a lay-down model, but it works pretty good. So it comes out, comes to this valve, goes into this pipe and comes up. Then it goes into this whip, comes around, and this is pretty much my holding tank. And then I went with PEX piping, which I know not a lot of guys like, but when you're on a budget, that's what you use. So it goes into the regulator, and then I stole some info off a guy on YouTube with this. It's a house filter here with steel wool in it, and then it goes through this first, and this is for when it's really humid out. This fogs up, the air comes in and it fogs up a little bit and it takes moisture out. Then it comes over here to my beads, into this one. This is a house filter also, and as you can see, it does collect the moisture. It's about halfway, and I've been using it pretty steady on and off for probably a month now. And then it comes out of that and goes into my oiler for my air tools, and it's all 3/4 pipe. Comes over, and then I have this drop down here for my workbench. It goes up and goes around my garage. It's a closed system. Goes over here to this side, and I have a drop that comes down, which is 1/2 inch, and that's because I changed the oil in my Jeep. I have a regulator and another oiler to get the moisture, because when I changed the oil in my Jeep, I used the air to push the oil out of my oil filter in my Jeep, and then I take the oil filter off, and it works out pretty good for that. So anyway, get back to this. It goes up, it goes around, comes halfway back through my garage, then it comes across to my drop down with this reel, and there's 100 foot of hose on there, so I can get outside of my garage and do stuff out there if I have to. And it continues across, and it comes back to the front part. Now I made some modifications. So my air comes out, goes through this copper line, comes back here to my tranny core, and I have air, DC fan, and there's the controller for the DC fan, and that comes on, and that takes most of the moisture, but not all the moisture. It takes about 95% of the moisture out before it ever gets to my tank. And then it goes through the process, goes through all the stuff, and I think with what I have, it works pretty good. I have a fan on the head of my air compressor to help cool it a little bit because it is really close to the wall. And it's not even 6 inches of clearance back there to the pulley in the back, but it works really good for me. And if you come over, we come over here to the control center. I've got 2 switches. The first switch is for the air compressor. The second switch fires up the fan, which the fan's running now. This is going to get a little noisy, but we'll turn the air on here. And I'm going to come back here and I'm going to let the air off. I like this compressor because it's not very noisy when it runs. Not like the newer ones nowadays. It makes so much noise it just drives you nuts. This I can live with. And that big gray motor on there is a 2 horsepower motor that came with the air compressor itself. So as soon as I get this air to bleed off, it holds 160 pounds of air. So take a minute or 2 here to get rid of the air so it comes on. But it doesn't take it long to fill it back up. And I'm really happy with how it works out. So it's like I said, it's over 6 months worth of work. And if anybody tells you it's cheap or to make a plan with your fittings and your piping and all that, that don't really help. Because, well, you make changes here along the way and you have your goof ups along the way. But this setup works pretty good. It comes out of the compressor and it's slanted down. So when the compressor shuts off, instead of the moisture moving back into the pump, it goes downhill and it comes out the bottom here. It goes into the tranny core. Then I have a water separator down there. So usually it fills up, it has a float in it. It fills up so far and then it releases the moisture. And it usually takes 2 cycles for the compressor to get enough water in there to make it dump. But this really works good for me. And it doesn't make a lot of noise, which I like. It's pretty quiet. Our parents and our grandparents really knew how to make stuff that lasts. This is a really good compressor, and will have 155 pounds in it. And then the smaller tank there, when it shuts off, usually has about 145 in it. And I can run my air tools, which I use a lot, changing tires. Like I said, I use the air to change the oil in my Jeep because it has a Baxter filter system in it. So you use like 3 pounds of air to push the oil out of the filter down into the oil pan. And then you change the oil, put a new filter on it, you don't have no mess. It all goes into the pan. So that's pretty cool. But back to the compressor. It works really good. It's not loud, like I said, and it works for everything I want to do. And that little white fan up there to keep at electronics cool because it had holes in the cover, let the heat out, but that didn't work so hot. It needed a little fan on it to help keep it cool. So it's a 220 volt air compressor, and I did all the work myself. It works pretty good, and I get it just about up to the point where it wants to shut off. It takes maybe 5 minutes to fill back up from 130 pounds to 155, whatever it is, because it fills both tanks. So, but it works really good. And other than that, this is what I did to make my compressor work. Like I said, everybody I see who does the tranny cores, they do them on stand-up compressors. I've only seen one with a tranny core on it that's set up like this. And I just figure I would show you what I have on my end. And when the water comes out, because I heisted one of my wife's soap jugs and have a little funnel and a hose that goes down into the bottle. And when it squirts off into that bottle, and I never have to empty it because, well, right now with the humidity and the heat, it just evaporates away. So, but this works pretty good for me. It's a decent setup. I like it, and I have about, I'm gonna say maybe $650, $700 in this setup. So you can find some good deals on Marketplace, and you can do the same thing I did. Thanks for watching. This is my very first video, so don't be too mean with the video. Thank you very much.